Copper, the old faithful commodity, has breezed through its post-COVID tailwinds with widespread commentary noting that we're possibly at the early days of a copper megatrend. If you recall, it was one of the few metals that exited pandemic years with a valuation firmly higher than what it boasted pre-2020. At the time, the electrification metal seemed like a pretty strong bet. Enter Prospect Resources, where this feeling is as present as it is mutual. With an existing exploration target at up to 1 billion tons of copper containing ore in Zambia, Prospect currently stands on the precipice of an exciting next chapter. To discuss, I'm joined by the company's Executive Director, Ian Goldberg. Welcome.
Thank you, Evan.
Can you walk us through the Mumbezhi Copper Project? How has this come about?
So just going back a couple of years, obviously we've been in Africa for a little while. We were in Zimbabwe with the Arcadia lithium project. So Arcadia lithium, we discovered that in sort of 2016, 2018. We went through a full feasibility study running into the exciting times where lithium was really booming. And we went into a partnership process looking to want to build that mine. We ended up selling that mine to Hawaii Cobalt for $378 million back in 2022. And what that did was give us a large amount of cash. Obviously, we returned about $445 million to our shareholders. So that was a huge reward for them. But we held about $32 million to go and look for another significant project. Well, we looked in Zimbabwe for a couple of other opportunities in lithium. We then pivoted to Zambia, looking at copper, because we felt copper was also on the rise in respect to, where the electrification cycle was going. I have a lot of history in copper. I was in the DRC in Australia as well. Our managing director, Sam Hossack, he's worked for First Quantum. He started his career in Zambia. He helped build both the Constantia and Sentinel mines. He was with them for about 15 years. So he has an affinity for Zambia, but also a strong understanding of copper metrics. We were fortunate enough to find a project, the Mumbezhi Project. And that project had been looked at by a couple of the majors. It sits between the First Quantum Sentinel mine to the west, which is processes 60 million tons a year. It originally had a resource of about 1 billion tons. And then to the east is Barrick's Lumwana mine, which currently processes 25 million tons, and they have 2 billion tons in resource. And actually, Barrick are currently expanding their processing, doubling it to be 50 million tons. So that's a huge positive aspect of the area. Our mine sits in between those, evenly spaced, probably 25 k's each side is where the other mines are. So we are very close. We sit on the same domal area that Lumwana sits on, a similar domal area that Sentinel sits on. So really the copper prospectivity is enormous. We went through a process last year of when we got the project. We got the project in about April last year. We did about 10,000 meters of drilling. The project had about 15,000 meters already drilled on it. So we were building on some historical data, but we were able to delineate a resource of about 107 million tons, grading about 0.5% copper, which is the same grade we see either side of us at our big neighbors. And through that process, obviously the drilling, the IP work that we did, the soil sampling work we did, we came up with an exploration target of between 400 and just over 1 billion tons of copper. So that's really the aim this year, is to really understand how we're going to grow that.
And FQM, which is close by, as you noted, is quite a large player in the space. How has this project influenced the development of the Mumbezhi project?
FQM, as I said, FQM invested about $2 billion back in 2010. They built a town, Kalambila town. They built an airport. They built a very large processing facility. They process around about 60 million tons a year to produce about 230 to 240,000 tons of copper. They've been going for about 12 years. Their ore profile is showing sort of reduction over the next 10 years. They've got about 10 years of life, and half of that is going to be at quite low grades. Sort of, we're talking 0.2, 0.3. So obviously, we're only about 25 kilometers from Sentinel. We're also about 30 to 35 kilometers from Barrick. So really, any resources that we can find would be of interest to both parties, especially First Quantum, because they are looking at a ore resource sort of downgrade over the next 5 to 10 years. We've obviously got a relationship with First Quantum through Sam. We currently we invited both parties, Barrick, First Quantum, on our site to see what we're doing, the drilling. We needed to do a funding campaign a little while ago. We had enough money carrying us through from the Arcadia process. In March this year, we went through a strategic process of looking for a partner we felt that would really be able to help us, give us credibility to what we're doing, but also support us through funding and also through technical expertise. And what we were able to achieve with First Quantum was they put in $15 million for 15% shareholding, strategic shareholding. We've agreed to a technical working group. So we're able to lean on their extraordinary success and knowledge of the area in terms of geological drilling, structure, processes, and really understand what they've been doing through the metallurgy and how we're going to develop our project going forward.
So what is the strategy here? It seems like you're building towards a mining operation.
So when we looked at the strategic partner, what we really wanted to do is bring in a partner that could give us credibility as to what we've got, which First Quantum has. But we also wanted to be able to develop enough resources to be a standalone mine. So the way we look at our current opportunities, it's threefold. We can either build a mine, if we have enough resources to build a standalone mine. The infrastructure in that area is incredibly well supported with the two big mines either side. We could also look at a process of toll treating if we can. We have two mining licenses that sit top to tail. There could be a situation where a good deposit is very beneficial for First Quantum, and we could actually toll treat our ore through their process while we're developing our own. Or we could look at a sale, as we did with Arcadia, maybe sell the project to First Quantum or Barrick, if that was to be the case, or a third party if the project grew to a size that would attract a standalone mine. That could be, so really it gives us optionality going forward.
Now, switching focus to potential risks, having already heard the advantages of Mumbezhi, although Africa is steadily becoming a more familiar region with investors, there is still some hesitancies around the political concerns. What do you have to say to this?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Zambia, like any African country, has been through its cycle of, nationalization, patriotic front. But that was back in the 60s and 70s. So Zambia now, actually, for the past 20 years, have had three different presidents elected democratically. So they're a very democratic society now. They have a strong backing from the people in terms of having to provide, show that they're doing economic benefit for the country. Copper contributes their biggest GDP contributor in their economy. Going back 20 years, they were the number one copper producer in Zambia. That's fallen away because of foreign investment was not coming into the country. The DRC has taken over that mantle, and the current president has really put a target of being able to achieve 3 million tons a year by 2031. They currently produce about 800,000 tons. So that's a huge uplift. That's not going to happen without foreign investment. The president himself has been to America trying and looking for debt support out of the West. The Beto corridor is being built that will be able to compete with the Belt and Road Chinese rail. Obviously, that's an important factor because that'll be able to get commodities off to America a lot cheaper off that side of the continent. And I guess what Zambia really wants is to really rebuild their copper industry, and that can only be done by foreign investment and allowing companies like us to come in and develop, and having good, strong policies as to how that's going to be governed. So yeah, we're very positive about Zambia.
Ian, to finish off, what will be the main goals for prospects moving into the latter half of the year?
So obviously, as I said, we raised $18 million in March, April. That will see us fully funded through, middle of next year and probably longer. We've got a current drill program where we're drilling 18,000 meters. We've got a lot of other exploration initiatives. We're flying EM survey across the whole tenement. We're doing soil sampling with ICP wet testing of the whole tenement. And that was one of the initiatives of First Quantum, because they found that having that data set and integrating it with the data sets that they've had at Sentinel and other areas, being able to really target in and where we might find more copper. So our goal over the next 12 months, let's say, is to really increase the resources at Nyungu Central and KB Cooper. We're targeting to double our total mineral resource estimate. Obviously, identify another deposit that will have a substantial resource potential, and also better understand the potential of the whole tenement, because there seems to be an enormous amount of areas where, might give up some additional value, and we just want to make sure we've covered everything. So that's really what we're looking at this year.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Ian, and good luck with the next steps of the project.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you for having us.